minutes and the December 19th Finance Committee minutes that are before you. And then we have an updated resolution 1222-2C along with the attachment C. That's part of the approving the county budget. And I think that is.
Where do you want to?
Oh, and yeah, that can be under the existing resolution 1222-2C certified levy.
Oh, you just brought it to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, and then finally, under the sheriff's, we have resolutions for filling positions. The agenda's there, but just these are just additional information for the board.
So the only thing to add is 1222-2C.
No, they're all there, Commissioner. Yeah, yeah. We just the material I want to make for the record that we've given to the board.
Motion by Ben,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Full same sign, hearing none, motion carried. Minutes, December 13th. Yeah, anything?
No.
Okay, the only thing I had was on page 1 at the very bottom under the men correctional care, a motion to authorize paying, I think it was the nurses. I don't think the very last sentence, contract proposal with Advanced Correction Healthcare Inc. to go in front of the board on December 20th meeting needs to be in the motion because it was really about paying the nurses. And then on page 2, up at the very top, motion second to approve a 1-year extension on the contract for legal services for child protection. I think we need to put in the contractee, which is Tim Dodds. And also the very next one for the civil commitment, Stuart Kitzman. And then on page 3 of 4, under land use environmental services, under NRM B, motion second to award 2024 tree seedling contract to PRT USA Inc. at $270 per thousand per red pine and $250, not $25 per thousand for the jack pine. That's all I had.
There's nothing.
Nothing?
Move to
Barry?
approve with the,
Oh, go ahead. Barry, did you have something?
That's right, it's not, no,
Okay,
it's not in my packet, so.
move to approve with the changes.
motion by Ben,
Second.
second by John. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, hearing none, motion carries. December 15th minutes. I didn't really have anything.
Move to approve.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Richard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, hearing none, motion carried. Open forum. Nobody? Report and correspondence. Ben, you're first.
Yeah, I just had one. It was the DAC. We met yesterday. We got our audit completed and it was a clean audit for last year. And last year we would have ended 2,199,000 in the red, but with the grants, we ended 165 in the black. This year we're 47,000 in the black. We got a contract done 3-year with a 3% increase this year, and then no openers on anything besides wages and health insurance. And then we're looking at, we actually approved this somewhat with a 3-2-2, but I guess those 2-2 would be subject to change. But it's nice that we don't have to look at any contract language, and it went pretty smooth. Other than that, we changed the longevity so it compounds a little bit and added 1 or 2 days of PTO. And then the board wanted me to stay on, and they think that they'll maybe have a couple openings in the near future, and when they do, they'll ask the county if they're interested in appointing somebody. That was their decision, and they I guess they're a private nonprofit, so they feel that's what they'd like to do.
We don't really appropriate any money to them, do we, or do we?
Well, we did some
We do?
research on that and, we do. It's not a lot, but we do, appropriate.
How much, Barry? 67,000?
Yeah. And so I brought that up. I didn't plan on discussing it here, but I was gonna bring it up at the committee review and certainly if we're allocating some funds, should we have some representation? I have not been able to speak to the executive director on that. But when I had spoke to her earlier, that was one of the discussions that she had. Well, since we're not providing any revenue stream, but
But
we
we
wanted to
are.
confirm that. And so
Okay.
there is an amount that is
Well, then
invested.
we should have an appointee on there. This.
Correct, yes, yeah. And at the end, that's normally what you would do. But
Yeah.
again, we were gonna save that for January 3rd.
Yeah, okay.
That's, you know what, that's fine. But I think that that is charges for services. Those, we don't appropriate any money. The county
Pass-throughs.
pays, that is how much money goes to patients through human services
Through a
that are,
payee.
that are getting services.
Right, so that doesn't, we don't appropriate, we don't levy money to.
Yeah, and it
appropriate.
used to be a ton of money because there wasn't state waivers to get people to go into that program, so it used to be all county levy dollars. So there is no
Well, then
appropriation.
there is no
Yeah,
need.
appropriate maybe isn't the right term.
Maybe not.
Public funds
Yeah,
is
okay.
what we were measuring, but thanks for the clarification.
That it, Ben?
Yep.
John?
At Northwest Emergency Communication Board. One of the big things there, we have grant funds to train dispatchers. It's about a 3-4 hour. They come right in and do a lot of additional training. I've communicated with Shane. Shane was on the same meeting. Try to get something going after January 1st, even though we're pretty well up to speed. I think even old seasoned veterans can probably learn something too from new additional training, so. And I just more check to see if everything's up to speed that's supposed to be security wise and all that, so I think it'll be good, so. Shane will be working on that. The 15th, I had the Otter Tail, one watershed, one district meeting down at Otter Tail. Wasn't a real fun drive down that morning in the snowstorm, but they wanted to hold it. Basically because it was a public hearing on the plan. Virtually no one was in attendance as far as the public, some comments from other state agencies, and ended up we voted to approve, send it on to the Bowser board for approval. And this will enable the district to seek or get that $1.2 million for projects in the coming year. And the Bowser board will meet here in Detroit Lakes out of Fish and Wildlife in January. So we'll probably be out there. They'll kind of go over the plan and move it on to the state board, or the regional. Heartland Trail, I met yesterday. I with the two new legislators, Senator Kubek and Representative Joy. And basically we have approximately $1 million for construction, providing that language can be changed on to legislature on our last grant to include the word construction. Basically, both the new legislators should come down early in the session to lobby and push for the bonding bills to be pushed through. And both of them had kind of a feeling that something would be pushed through right away with the surplus to the state house.
So then you continue that into the Frazee then?
Yeah, and the last couple projects DNR has let here just recently, $80 a running foot. So should have enough money to complete that if that holds through. So now would take it from the bridge into almost right across from the old dam site at Big Turkey. Then looking at a little parking spot right off the right of way. It's on the right of way, but little trailhead right there too.
Okay.
And that would tie in to the trails that we're kind of done on 87 projects for Frazee.
Okay.
Moving forward. That's all I have.
Barry?
Attended the construction highway meeting in everything's going well. I think me and Jonah were the only ones at the meeting, so it was a pretty short meeting, but everything seems right on track. They're jockeying some things around once in a while. Have you hear of the steel for the, because they're having problems at the, Lakeland Mental Health Building to get the steel. This, but I think the only steel we have left is the crane supports, right?
And that's all.
That's all on site. So the crane's on site already, but, so, we've been real fortunate. I have no delays out there at all. And Lakeland Mental Health yesterday, their Moorhead building is seeing delays because they can't get steel.
Isn't
So,
that why we went with concrete roof too?
yeah. But, and the price, they've said the price of that steel, they're anticipating at least a 10% jump for, so, there's no, it's, I said, well, didn't we get a price guarantee? Isn't this, I said, yeah, but, and we have Nana's on the board from, I said, she's from Douglas Commissioner. She's an attorney. She goes, I'm sure there's a clause in that contract that says if the supplier increases theirs, then they have that pass through funding. So, but the Lakeland Mental Health itself is doing, very well financially. It's about the same as it was, last year, 8.43% margin. And last year was 8.7 something. They anticipate next year that they might ask the counties for a little bit more money. And I just said, you better be ready to justify it when you can get your margins like that to show that why you'll need that.
What's the cost of the building, Gary?
That one was just under 10 million.
Are they using total resources that they have, or yeah, I thought they were, because they had
There's
quite a
some
surplus, yeah.
Yeah, and then they cut some things off that because the budget was 10. So, there was just some things, but they're adding on to the existing building also. It's an existing building and then they're adding on and then remodeling, so. And that was it.
Actually, both of my meetings were canceled last week, EDA and the Prairie Lakes Municipal Solid Waste, which are going to be Thursday and then the 28th for Prairie Lakes. But Pat and I did have a hour and 15 minutes, I suppose, conversation last night with the Wise family. It went very well, I thought. Nick Clute was on from the DNR, and he did a total review again. You know, Nick is detailed, right? But I think we're really close to an agreement. All the Wises were present through the phone. It was Stephanie, Kirk, and Stan. And Stan seems like he really wants to meet us all, or at least some of us. And but again, I think it's going to be a go. I think it's going to be a successful negotiation. The only thing that they were concerned about is getting a commitment from the board for that fence, Barry. And of course, the cost has probably changed, so I think we should probably get another cost from the fence company that gave us the low quote and then go from there. And Stan was somewhat negotiable on that fence as far as 6 foot versus 4 foot or something like that. If we can save some money on that, they seem very amenable to the whole thing now. And the only issue is the one individual has to be a signee, and Stephanie, the daughter, said that sounded like she had that worked out. Anything to add on that, Pat?
The only thing is, there's one request they had is they hadn't received their valuation for their property, and they're very curious what the valuation is. And I told them I'd work with that particular department head and get them a copy of that information sent to them.
Mary, do you know why that would be? No, they were wondering about a TNT notice in their valuations for 2023. Okay, that could be. Yeah. I think they were hoping that maybe there would be a change in that, but I don't think that's going to change our situation here at all. So.
How about the signs? Did you tell them that we can't be responsible? We can initially put them up, but we're not going to be responsible for them.
No, I think they understand that now, that if there's an issue, they have to report it to the sheriff.
And the sheriff is the one that would respond to it.
Right, right. Yeah. I think they're going to be in town next week, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I had. Richard, anything?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Appointments? Any appointments?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to appoint Ben Grimsley to the Sunnyside Board for an open position to fill, what's her name? Jeanette Larson's open position.
Okay,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I won't vote.
Motion carried. County Administrator.
Yeah, so the Buck Mills thing, thank you, Chair, for just giving that overview. I wanted to let everyone know you received this in an email communication, but the old highway building was sold. The board chair and I had a closing here late last week. In addition to that, there was a separate check that was provided to the seller with regards to the environmental work, and that was discussed through email and phone discussion. So that's been brought to a conclusion. We're now a renter in that building. The insurance has changed per the agreement, where we still have insurance on it, listing the bank as the beneficiary. So in the leaseback agreement, as you might remember, there are some responsibilities, some identified issues that occur that we'd have to address. One is being a leaky roof, and I think that is continuing. So we'll address that. But the hope is to transition to a new building, and once we do that, we'll be out of that building completely. I know I spoke with the county engineer, and they're working on a plan on all the equipment that's left. I mean, there was some identified equipment that will go to the purchaser, but there's a lot of other equipment that we'll have to find an auction, and I think that's the plan, is to have an auction house come in and sell all that material. So, but the sale did take place, and I appreciate the board being available and receptive, because it was a real moving target there for a bit. Moving on, I guess the one thing I wanted just to get clarification from the board, and I know this addresses just some of the commissioners here, but with the business meeting that we'll advertise here coming up in January, it's going to be fairly unique from previous years. You've always had the exiting board chair managing the meeting to select a chair. And for the last few years, it's been very consistent in that regard, but the board chair exiting would be Commissioner Knudsen. And so he would not be available to manage that meeting to select a chair. And I think some guidance would be in order, because I didn't want there to be a shock, as we start the meeting and who's running that. I will tell you that most other counties have the administrator do that, but I would like some guidance on whoever you'd like, just to make sure we have a very efficient process as we go to January 3rd. So I'm just looking for some feedback on how you'd like to approach that.
We've had Mary do it in the past, or the auditor's done it too.
And it really doesn't matter. I just didn't want there to be any inefficiencies. So,
I'd say either Mary or administrator.
well, we'll talk about it, I guess. Yes. So I just wanted some guidance, and because it is unique, it's changed after the last few years. And so thank you for that. We have amend agenda item later on, but I did want to let you know that we did get signed contracts from the nurses, and we did provide them checks to reimburse them for some past due that they had, and they're both still working on behalf of the county. But we'll talk a little bit about the ACH proposal when we get there. Those are the major items I had, sir.
Okay. We have resolution 1222-2A, commissioner salaries. Everybody had a chance to review that?
What is the increase on? What
4%.
Did you hear what county was it? Just gave themselves a $9,500 commissioner raise?
Base salary, 9,500 increase?
I was just talking, who was I? Just said that. I'm like, that's a bit steep.
Well, it depends on, maybe they weren't making anything out of it.
They were making, I think they said 25 before. So.
Oh, okay.
Move to approve.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Richard. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. 2B, elected official salaries.
Yes, and this was reviewed by the Finance Committee, and the recommendation is a straight 4% increase for each of the elected department heads.
Move to B.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Richard. Any discussion?
Was the increases there, usually we said negotiate, were they negotiated with those individuals?
As much as you'd like.
They were provided, with documents to submit to the committee. There were meetings that were scheduled with one, at their request, one of the elected department heads.
Right, we have a motion by John, second by Richard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Commissioner 2023 meetings.
So that's on page 7 and 8. I think the major change is July 4th is a Tuesday. That would be a board meeting, so we'd move that to July 5th. We have identified the AMC annual conference for the first week, so we'll use the same model as we did the previous year and have board meetings on the 12th and 19th of December with the TNT on the 14th. We did identify a few finance committee meetings that are on a holiday, and what we've always done is move those to the Friday before that.
Entertain a motion to end.
Awesome.
Motion by Barry,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Consider the proposal.
Yeah, and the sheriff, the jail administrator, if you want to come up. So this is the Consider Advanced Correction Healthcare Proposal. It's on page 10 of your packet. As was indicated already, the MEND has provided notice. Their last date of service is March 1st. So we've transitioned with the nurses successfully, and now we have a proposal before you. And I'm going to hand it off to the administrator and the sheriff.
Yeah, as you could. It is definitely higher. And one thing I just wanna. 65 inmates. Way for revenue sources of work. That is a concern of mine. This contract.
Did you ask for a higher rate for more, raise the limit of employee or
Yeah, we,
inmate?
we've talked about it, and I want everybody to know that this is a proposal.
This is the proposal.
So they're gonna work on it, but
Contract.
I think they've undersold what we could possibly need. So I do want everybody to understand that there might be that we might come back and ask for an increase in this or that as that contract comes. But I just wanted to make sure that we're moving forward on this project. There is not a lot of alternatives out there. And I don't want to have a gap in basically medical services in jail. So there's going to be some questions that come up during that contract or that construction of that contract. ADC and nursing hours are definitely maybe a little alarming.
Do you expect to have a contract before the board on January 3rd?
I think that's probably not really realistic.
Okay.
Hopefully we have something that we can pick apart a little bit at that time. We're kind of into that holiday season, so I'm anticipating some delays. ACH has been, they seem to think that they can get that done pretty quickly, but I don't think they can. I think that's.
We met with them when March. Yeah, so they have a little step up, I guess, than just coming in green, but.
And I'm very thankful that we did, because there are other counties that are kind of in the same boat as we are, but I've had some of those earlier talks and they're talking possibly not being able to. That's what I'm trying to avoid.
So what you're asking is just consent for you to negotiate or to try to iron out a contract with them? Okay.
Consent to move forward with this proposal, and ACH is basically what.
Do we need a motion, just consent?
I think our motion would be in order, but I just would like to add something is I think what we're proposing too is a 1-year contract. Because we do want to look at other options. We do know it's a more of a cost. There's other variables that Chris has mentioned. But we'd be looking at a 1 year, but we'd be actively exploring ways to improve and lower costs.
Okay, wishes of the board.
And make a motion to move forward,
Motion by John,
negotiating a contract with ACH.
Second.
second by Barry. Any discussion, Barry? Did you have a question? I
No.
thought- Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Thanks for your hard work on this, you guys. I know it's a touchy situation.
I think
The choice right now.
the benefit too is we have employee ready to go on it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier transition.
Well, and just to add on what Commissioner Nelson said is if we had not kept those nurses in place, we could have had delays up to several months. So yes, keeping those nurses has really helped us for a quicker transition.
Item 6.
So that's on page 11. The IT director just provided an estimate on the cost of iPad. Commissioner Knutson had requested be able to purchase his iPad. You've got some flexibility and leeway here. This is just a guide for you, and so we'd be looking for board direction.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Grimsley brought it up. The iPads that we do have are only 32 gigabyte, which lowers that, because the one she had was 128. So, and just on a personal note, I just traded mine in, which is newer than this, and it's about $180 on there. Close to $1,000 one. Oh,
Well, let's examine it. Let's pass his around and examine it so we can see if there's scratches or dents and give it appropriate.
My keypad doesn't work, but that's no big deal.
you've been, must have been eating a meal over yours.
The crumbs,
Anytime.
crumbs all over it.
I tried to clean it this morning too, so you wouldn't look at that. Just put a price on it, guys. That's all I care about.
I'd make a motion to sell for $180.
$180.
I'd second that.
Motion by John, second by Richard. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying
There is,
aye.
but you want to hear it.
You're right. Okay. Item 7, Minnesota Heritage Ford. Ken Wolf.
Morning.
Morning.
If you don't know me, Ken Wolf, I'm the assistant area supervisor in Park Rapids area station here in Detroit Lakes. I don't know if you're aware of the Heritage Forest Project, I think you are, where it was actually potlatch land bought by Conservation Fund, and the Conservation Fund is looking at selling those parcels statewide. The state went through a process with counties, tribes, and other governments, trying to determine who had interest in those properties. I believe Becker County had a couple of parcels that they were looking at. And then there was a few parcels that were, that met the needs and fit well with the state. So we're looking at acquiring those parcels. And what I did is I met with Savannah Township and Two Inlets Township, where those parcels were located. It was 3 different parcels totaling about 240 acres. I think you have it in the packet there. And I asked those townships to see if they were interested, or if it was what their thoughts were of the state acquiring. If we're looking for either their support or their non-support, so that we get a feel for what the townships have, or what their interests were. And in both townships, I received a letter of support for the DNR to look at trying to acquire those lands. And now the next step is meeting with you guys here to see if you guys would support something like that. Basically looking for a letter of opinion, if it's something that Becker County would support or not support. Because it's a statewide project that we're looking at. I believe Potlatch had, well, the TNC or TCF, had about 70,000 acres left. And the state kind of picked and choose what would fit well within the cross. And we're looking at putting together an entire package that we're trying to acquire. And we'll only try to acquire those where we have support. So actually I was in Hubbard County last week, and the parcels that are in Hubbard County, they'll support. If, for instance, Becker County didn't support it, we just set it aside and not try to acquire it. Because we don't have funding for it, and so we'd be looking for some grants, the different funding sources, and we didn't have your support. It wouldn't work well to acquire those grants. So that's kind of the background on it, and I guess from here, I'd be open to any questions that you guys have on those parcels and or on this process, and then from there, I guess guess I'd be looking for an opinion from you guys. If this is obviously with the government, it takes a while for it to happen. We have to look to get the funding, and then acquire the parcels. It will take a number of years before this comes all the way to fruition. And also, there is no guarantee that we'll give it, we meaning the state of Minnesota, even with your support, because the conservation fund, they own the land, they can do what they want with the land, they can sell it tomorrow. I believe they're looking at trying to do big package deals, and that's, I believe their intent, but there is no guarantee.
I think their intent was though to keep it public, wasn't it?
It is, yeah, it is, but I know they have, there's gonna be some parcels that just don't fit well with those tribal or any sort of government, and they will end up liquidating them.
Sure. I have a question. When we originally started this process, we were told that if it was bought with heritage money, there couldn't be a pill payment. How did that, what changed?
I don't know where you heard that, but actually, we had a meeting because obviously pill payments are a big deal.
Yes.
And they went, some of the, because I'm not well versed on pill payments, but folks in our Lands and Minerals Division are, and they went over that and they made it very clear that the pill payment would happen. And if there was any chance of that not happening, I think the whole project would fall apart.
And that was, why the two parcels that we chose, basically, we didn't really want to purchase them. We wanted the DNR to purchase them
Sure.
because then we'd get a pill payment and would still retain public land. Were the parcels that you are thinking of purchasing, were any of them leased?
No, none of them were, so, no, I guess I can't speak about in the past, but, yeah, I actually can't say that, because I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, see, the
Yeah.
parcels that we were interested in, that we picked, they're both leased. We can't purchase them at all anyway. They're leased for several years, according to the gal from the Conservation Fund at our last,
Really?
yeah. And Todd was actually brought it to our attention, Sheriff Glander, and we did a check on it, and then they turned out they were both leased and for quite a while.
That's interesting, because I had not heard anything on that, and obviously I'm writing down, a note.
I think we could still purchase them, we just have to honor that lease.
I suppose, well, I don't know about that, why we do that, but they said they weren't for sale at this time because they were leased, but that could change too, I suppose, but
Sure.
Mitch was coming this morning. Pat,
We did ask him to come, yeah,
Okay.
but he's not here yet.
well, that's another subject anyway, it doesn't matter, but what's the opinion of the board on these properties?
I think they fit well.
I have no issue,
So, fine with it.
so we'll do a letter of support for you.
Okay, I do want to address that lease thing, because I want to look into that, because that makes me wonder too. I hadn't heard anything on the parcels that we're trying to acquire.
Excuse me, but Steve, can you come up? You recall you remember the two parcels? They were both leased and said they weren't for sale at the current time, correct?
That's correct. There was two different programs with two different sets of properties. So you're referring to these up in Savannah?
Yeah.
That was a different program that you're referring to. So there was another two tracks, there's one in Osage Township and one up in.
North of 113.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a different program. That property had been transferred to some other outfit, a different organization, a nonprofit that was going to turn around and try to sell those.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what the parcels he's talking about were the Conservation Fund too.
Yeah.
But these properties that we were looking at were both leased,
They were.
and we were told they weren't for sale at the
Those
present
two
time.
were.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's so. But I can send you the email. I'll try to find the email that we got from the Conservation Fund and forward that to you. Or Steve, you can do that, huh?
Yeah, I'll get them.
I can
Then you'll have a contact person.
Sure. On those, this is kind of a separate, is that something that you guys are still going to try to pursue, those two other parcels?
Well, I won't be here,
Yeah.
but, but I would like to, if they're for sale and they're gonna be public, I'd rather have the DNR so the county benefits from the pill payment.
So if that's the case, it would be much better to know that. I mean, I would include that in that letter, Because what I don't want to happen is, I'm gonna say the state put together this big statewide package and you not be on board with those two parcels, if that's something that you as the county.
So
desire.
include those two parcels in our letter of support for them to buy.
And I can't make any guarantee on those.
No, but at least you'll have a foot in the door.
Yeah,
Yep.
but that way, if they say, well, the county supports it, let's make this happen.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, so it should, if that's your desire, add that to that.
We'll do that.
Perfect.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chair, I'll make a motion to together a letter of support for the DNR to purchase those presented parcels and the parcels that we had discussed previously with.
Okay. Motion by Barry,
Second.
second by John.
Thank you.
Any discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Get all that.
Of course, that PILT payment will just get smaller.
It's gonna get smaller and
Smaller slices.
But it looked pretty good on your printout.
I want to address that too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that bill payment, when they went over that with Lanza, when I went over that with Lanza Mineral, they said that does not get smaller and smaller. It is not, it's not like there's $100,000 there and they keep apportioning that. If there was more land, that would get bigger because it's not a set amount that gets split up.
Oh, that's what we've always heard that.
And they said,
There's different PILTs, so.
they said there's a misconception out there on that. And they wanted, because they said that might be a concern of some of the county commissioners. But at least they made it very clear that that's not the case, that bill payment won't get smaller because there's more land coming in.
In this program, I suppose. Because there's what, 3 different types of PILT
There's different types of bill.
and there's federal PILT, and I'm pretty sure federal PILT is a set, I mean, it's not a set amount, but it's designated from leases and revenues that is a set amount, no matter what acreage, I think. So I mean, that can grow also, but it's just coming off from those sources.
All right, thanks, Kent. All right, we ready for finance? Yeah, come on, Mary.
Good morning. The first item I have on the agenda is the finance minutes from December 19th. We reviewed auditor warrants. There was utility bills and a miscellaneous tax distribution requesting a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Richard. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
There were also claims for human services, transit, and public health requesting a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Ben,
Second.
second by Richard. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
We did not have any licenses, so my next item is the October cash comparison, sales tax, and investment report.
Move to accept.
Motion by Ben,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Excuse me.
Okay, then the final item I have, we did hand out Resolution 1222-2C. What was in the packet is what was certified in September, because the packet came out before the public hearing. So there were minor changes to the budget, but there was no change to the levy. Attached to this resolution is also Exhibit C, which is the budget entered into IFS. And if you look on page 70, those amounts, the revenues, expenditures, and the net are required to match what is adopted in this resolution. There you go. Yep, the final column that says budget 2023. So, our anticipated revenues are 62,269,244, expenditures of 62,798,499. And like I stated, the one in the packet was as proposed for September at the preliminary budget. This is the final budget. The levy is flat at the 24,628,240.
In EDA,
EDA is on the top of this resolution, item 3.
I've got it, 124, 350.
124,
No change.
350 is included, no change.
And a motion on 2C.
Move to approve.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Richard. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Bring on, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Human resources. Oh, you're coming.
Morning, on the agenda, there was, getting some updates. Is there some, that this is a position that's been ongoing with the commission, and it's going to be
Wishes of the board?
Make a motion to approve 2N.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Richard. Any discussion?
Well, Mr. Chair, I guess I would like, I guess it's a little concerning, a full-time position on this. It's been struggled to show that it's provided that benefit to us in the past, on projects. I was thinking, after I was brainstorming a little bit on this, maybe if it was through Denise's department too, for some grant writing, or maybe specifically writing grants for human services too, it might be an asset.
I think the last part of the job description is grant writing, correct?
Internally and externally, yes.
Barry, I had the same concerns and I said, I won't be here, but I will be back in a year, sitting out there demanding results, some results in this position, because I had concerns too.
I mean, we're not looking to bring in more gas stations. We're not looking, all these businesses where our job market is, saturated. I just wonder what's the goal of this job then? What are we trying to bring in, an Amazon or, there's very limited businesses that you can bring in, and the city of DL has its own, and so are we assisting small towns to bring in small businesses, and is that a full-time job? I mean, unless we really can put some grant writing in this for other entities also, I just don't see this as a full-time position.
Well, I think the discussion we had in finance yesterday too was a lot of concerns about it, but a lot of working with the smaller cities in the county, trying to bring in more industry throughout the whole county. And since I've been on the board, we've lost 2 pretty good industries that had a good chance coming in here because we didn't follow up or have the right person in that type of position to follow up on it. And one was in Frazee, one is north of town, so.
I think housing is a big thing too, and I think that's going to be
Housing.
helpful for housing.
We do a lot, we do what we can with housing. Housing
Yeah.
is so expensive
Yeah.
now and it's just gonna continue to be a big problem here. Even if there are jobs here, there's no place for anybody to live. And so, if we could get somebody that would really do something about it, would be the thing.
That's
you know,
my
instead of-
concern.
And that is, if you could get the motivated person and get the right person, it would be very valuable to have them.
Maybe we should do 30 hours a week or, less. And I don't know that somebody that's had a long career in this would be opposed to working a lighter schedule.
But then we might not get the good. So if we don't get the good one, then we might as well not have one.
Well, I'm
Right.
thinking maybe we could get a good person.
Yeah, if you can get one, but I mean, if they want full-time and we lose a good person, because if we get the wrong one, we might as well not have anybody at all. That's kind of the way it is.
I think it's worth a shot.
I do, especially if we have a grant writer that can write grants for other things. That's a big deal. If we could get one of those, that could make such a big difference in this county if we had a good grant writer, so.
Like that request, from one small city and county, who do they go to? Aspen did help some. Well, we don't have anybody right now.
Yeah.
So there's,
I'm gonna call the question unless you have something to say.
Well, I was just gonna say, as someone that comes from that industry, that background, it's one thing, it's important for, I think, the public to know, and I think the board already has acknowledged this, you're not required to do economic development. It's not a statutory requirement like roads or law enforcement and things like that. But if you do it correctly with the strategy, it does create wealth, significant wealth. And I think, there is no economic development person in the county right now. You do have a community development director in Detroit Lakes, but all these smaller cities, they are growing, and they're growing, and the business community that's grown, it's been on their own momentum. I mean, their own expertise and momentum. And I think the role for economic development is to find mechanisms to make things happen beyond what the needs are for the private business. And I'll give you just a real important example. Years ago, and I think maybe 7 or 8 years ago, 9 years ago, you guys might have, you guys were doing small city development grants. Those are CDBGs, Community Development Block Grant Program. Those are zero interest deferred forgivable loans for commercial, multifamily and single family housing to rehabilitate those buildings. Those create significant value changes, but also provide a mechanism for people to invest in the infrastructure and houses. We have not applied for that in probably 10 years. You need someone in place to be able to apply for the federal grant programs that are available, the small city development grants. And it's really about wealth. And I didn't bring a comprehensive economic development strategy, but I did bring it to the EDA several times. There is a strategy in place to create wealth, and there are measures in place to create wealth. So if it's successful or not is going to be dependent on those measures. Now, we've got initial measures that we've created, but we would want the Economic Development Committee and the board to review those. So I didn't bring those to you. But wealth is jobs, but it's new tax revenue, but it's alternative funding mechanisms. And we just haven't spent a lot of time in the last few years that I could see doing that. So I wanted to bring a position to you that is about creating wealth, and it's being measured to create wealth. And I'll just finish with a final example is, when I started my career in the public sector at Carleton County, I was an economic development person. I put performance measures together, and for every dollar that we spent on economic development, we created 20, in jobs and new tax revenue. So those are the type of measures that we would want the public to see and the board to see. So we want it to be successful, and I think it will be. This is a very unique county. It's a rural county, but it's a rural county that has such growth in it that's the reason we got our AA+ credit rating. Specifically, they said that it's because you're a rural county with economic development potential. So I hope the board considers this, because I think it's really in the county's interest. But again, county does not have to invest in economic development. But I think it will be important for the small cities and the communities, and also even for Detroit Lakes.
The EDA board has approved this.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
Finance has approved it, and we have budgeted for the position. The EDA. Call the question. We have a motion by John, second by Richard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign? Motion carried. Go ahead.
Last item is, salaries and wages. going out for bids. Like to see. And that study allowing job description. For a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Barry,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Carrie. Jim?
Good morning.
Morning.
Highway has 4 items for your consideration. The first is the reaffirmation of the county sales and transit tax. We call it the smart tax. This is the 0.5% sales tax that we use to fund our public roads, partially fund our public roads. We had our public hearing last week, and as part of the process, and at your request, when we first started this, you wanted to revisit this every year, review projects, and then reaffirm the smart tax. So we've done that, and looking for adoption of the resolution then.
1222 2D.
Who was it that came up with that acronym for us? Was that Jack?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hate that acronym.
I don't know.
A smart tax. I love it.
You confused me when I came here, because I'm thinking, well, are we talking lost? Because that's all I knew was lost, but I was educated, you called smart, and which is fine, but was unusual to me as well.
That's not what they thought I referred to it at this before meeting when I said
A smart.
that.
Just a note, I don't know, in your packet, the bottom paragraph did have the wrong date, had December 13th. It has been corrected. And I have copies of those, or if Amanda has made those corrections, so just so you're aware of that.
Good catch, Mary.
So move to approve.
Motion by Barry,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
Next is adoption of the Highway Department 5-year plan on construction projects from 2023 to 2027. Again, we held the public hearing last week, indicating the projects we have planned for the next 5 years. And this adoption of the resolution allows us to begin advancing those projects with the various work, design, surveying, and then bringing those to construction.
Move to approve 2E.
2E. Motion by John,
Second.
second by Barry. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
Next item for consideration is a final project acceptance and final payment to All States Pavement Recycling. This is for a highway safety project, the rumble stripes that we put on a few various roads this year. The project was completed successfully, and we're authorizing final payment for the project.
2F.
Move to approve.
Motion by John,
Second.
motion by John.
Second, that's it.
Point of order.
So you want to get that glare off his, so he doesn't look down too much?
Second by Barry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
You get that scar off the top of your head.
Told you my wife tried to kill me.
You feel safe at home?
I don't. He asked me that when I go for my physical. No, I don't. 2G, moving right along.
All right, final final item for your consideration is adoption of a resolution authorizing MnDOT in the delegated contract agreement. This essentially allows MnDOT to accept all federal dollars that we receive for projects and pass those through to us. And it just explains the rules that we have to follow to get those dollars.
I think I confused you a little bit yesterday. I was thinking of the household hazardous waste payment difference that was in the contract, not your contract.
Okay.
All right. Entertain a motion 2G?
We're ahead of schedule, so
Yeah, we
No,
got time.
there's no rush. Did I say, oh, I won't dialogue.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
all right, motion by Barry,
Second.
second by John. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign, hearing none, motion carried. We are ahead of schedule. Anybody need any kind of a break?
We got
We'll
the
get the
sheriff,
sheriff out of here then. In land use, in transit.
and we'll be held up at zoning.
Yeah, we'll be held up in zoning.
We take a break. Before.
Okay, there was a mistake on 2J. Communications officer, thanks, Barry.
Looks a little more.
Would they have it like a full time?
I was 79.
Yeah.
Again, good morning. I have 3 items on the agenda today. First is resolution 2H, a full-time correctional officer due to a vacancy.
Move to approve 2H.
Motion by Barry,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign, hearing none, motion carried.
Item 1B, resolution 2I, is a full-time correctional officer due to vacancy.
Motion to approve 2I.
Motion by Barry,
Second.
second by Richard. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign, hearing none, motion carried.
And lastly, item 1C, resolution 2J, is for a part-time variable hour dispatcher due to vacancy.
Move to
That-
approve.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Barry.
I just had a question. What is the para rate for jail and dispatch? You know, I thought, wasn't that on part of this? And it was kind of confusing to see that.
The para rate, I'd have to look. I don't know exactly what it is.
It's not like officers, is it? Or is jail like officers?
It's a different fund.
Lower? It's not, okay.
It's a coordinated fund, yeah, compared to,
More like ours than the sheriff. Sheriffs are, or the deputies are quite different, I think.
that's a police and fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the difference is.
Quite a
as
different
far as-
rate,
I
Yeah.
think so,
Yeah,
considerably.
considerable, yep. All right, I have a motion by John, second by Barry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Post same sign, hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. Sheriff.
thank you.
Stephen,
Morning.
morning.
I got 2 items today. One is HHW contract. It's to be a regional household hazardous waste coordinator for the counties around here. And this is the same contract we've had for many years. The only exception is, when Paint Care got started, they included that in this, and now they're pulling that out, and it's going to be a separate contract between the counties and Paint Care in the future. So what this is I put this in the packet. They want it approved. They're going to send out a DocuSign document, and we just need authority to sign it, and you should designate who you want to sign it.
Okay.
If you have any questions.
Motion to.
Move
the
to
agreement.
approve.
Motion by Richard,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign, hearing none, motion carried.
As far as signing the HHW document, do you want me to sign it, or Pat, or does it matter? That's sign.
So I mean, if you authorize the department, you can sign it, but usually it's the board chair or the administrator that's.
Yeah.
I think we'll just go by normal and we'll both probably sign it or however it comes.
Okay. Second
Authorized
item.
Signing.
Second item is Resolution 1222 2K. It's just approving 2023 waste hauler licenses, allowing them to get signed, and then we'll just distribute them as we have one hauler that hasn't turned in all this information. So
Every year.
Same guy.
No, not the same guy, but
Oh.
every year we have one or two.
Yeah.
Are they on the list?
yes,
So pending
pending. Yep, yep.
motion 2K pending documentation.
Second.
Second by Richard. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Steve, you know, I was just thinking, and I know you guys are doing a very good job at the pulling out items for resale. I can't remember the term you guys are.
Reuse.
But to clear that out in the spring, maybe we should have an auction every spring, just get rid of everything and then start over again. Cause we can't just keep building and building and having, you need to clean house and then start again. And if you get $10 for everything, then that is, but at least it's.
We've talked about that internally, and what they're doing is they're discounting it as much as they can. I mean, they're like almost nothing, just to get a way to keep moving it through, because there is more stuff that keeps coming in every week.
Yeah.
It's just.
But until you find that right person to, even if it's $1, I mean, a nice thing, unless that person wants it or needs it, I mean, you just don't have the visibility that businesses.
That's correct. And
So maybe you do it, maybe you post put a picture online of stuff.
and they have been posting this through Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I guess I'm not friends with the dump or not the dump, sorry.
So we've been making efforts to try to move this product through as quick as we can. With the smaller stuff that they're pulling out now, they actually do keep up on a lot of that. Part of the problem that you're gonna run into in the not too distant future is if we actually do get into deconstruction or handling more demolition or building material types, where stuff comes in larger quantities, we just don't have the space really to store stuff like that until you can retail it, or if the county decides that we want to retail it through something else, there's gonna have to be, that idea is gonna have to be addressed. On how.
Are they fully staffed now?
Yes.
You have 2 workers.
No, not,
Yeah, I didn't mean you. I
Better
mean
Futures.
Future.
No, they have one.
Okay.
still.
Are you still looking for another one or?
Last I heard, they were talking about it. I haven't been in touch with them for the last few weeks, so we'll check.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Who's doing transit?
I'll make a motion to approve 2L.
Motion by Ben,
Second.
second by John. In discussion?
Only thing I think Kevin mentioned, they still haven't got the one they ordered last year. But will probably be coming later in 23
Or beginning of 24.
or 24. This one might not show up till 24, 25. but-
And it was up how much?
Oh. Was it 90 something to 130 something?
Yeah, it was
It was-
Well,
huge increase.
he thought it was gonna be higher.
Yeah.
So this is about 10 grand lower than he said.
All right, we have a motion by Ben, second by John. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Becker County Soil and Water?
Right over there.
Happy looking fella.
Morning.
We have, the last time I was here, we were looking for approval for the board to, in support for applying for the grant to start the Crow Wing One Watershed One plan. And now we've been approved for that grant, and what I have before you today is the memorandum of agreement for joining the group to go through the planning process. So we'll start that now in January, and we'll take a year to a year and a half to get that plan complete. So just looking for the board's approval to join in with the planning process for the Crow Wing One Watershed One plan. As you can see, it's quite a group, covers quite an area, could be 16 potentially different LGUs.
Kevin.
but-
Thank you. You're done.
Yeah, you're done. What was the increase in the vehicle? That was a question. What was the increase in the vehicle? Sorry, Brian.
It's, in comparison, last one was 93,000 that we took, possession of in May. This is 128,000, some odd change. It's the exact same.
Biggest cost was the chassis.
16,000 for the chassis.
More.
So basically the same chassis, same wheelbase, just 3 grand more.
Okay. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
That's okay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah,
You're
really,
done?
that was
Okay.
it.
Wish
Yep.
of the board. Let's go.
Let's see. what do we have?
We're behind schedule. Let's go.
No, but I mean, why? He's sitting here. Sure, he's got a
Motion
Make
to,
a motion to approve the MOA.
motion by John,
second.
second by Barry. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, before Brian goes, I'd like to acknowledge, Brian was down at their annual convention this December 13th and was presented with the 2022 Outstanding Soil and Water Conservation District Employee from Bowser. John Jaski, head of Bowser, presented that award. It's quite an honor. Congratulations. I mean, you're relatively new to Becker County and you've done a great job for us. And, but you're not new to soil and water. And I think they recognize you stepped into Becker County who has very high, it has been in high regard for many years and you filled that job seamlessly. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was quite an honor and a big surprise sitting at the awards banquet. So.
Good thing you went.
Right.
They would have got him to go. Good, congratulations,
Yeah,
Brian.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, it was very nice. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, that speaks highly of your staff because I'm sure they're the ones that nominated you.
Well, and then the Bowser folks too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt Fisher and Brett Arney and Pete Waller were part of that too. And so, but yeah, it takes a team, working with the Northwest area here and the changes that we're making with those engineering services and then along with the team we have for staff. And the board is excellent to work with too.
I don't think we can understate too the partnerships that we have with the NRCS. I mean, we're very unique that we have good relationships with the federal programs and and then the same building. I think that's important to. Now, the feds just last year required that there be walls separating office spaces. That's why the big remodel, because there were requirements at the federal level that for some of those, which are silly because you gotta, but that's the rule. So.
Right, yeah, like you said, it is not that way. Our relationship is not that way in every county and state. So the relationship we have with NRCS here in Becker County is excellent and operate very well together to get a lot of projects done for the landowners.
Yeah.
I think it really has to do with the chairman of the county that you represent.
I would think so too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Sure, it's gonna fall apart.
We're on
now.
break.
Jim,
What
yeah.
was he?
Then he yells at you, everybody shut up.
How come that's in your door?
I don't
Oh,
know.
heavy-handed guy.
Gotta keep Pat in line.
I'm supposed to be the chairman.
Oh, we're still
Yeah,
15 minutes.
I
ahead of
know.
time. I don't. Good to go. Good morning.
Go
Got
ahead.
planning commission recommendations for you from December 15th. First applicant Stein Properties LLC, requesting a change of zone from residential to commercial, for 5 parcels. Recommendation to approve.
Motion to concur.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Richard. Any discussion?
Larry, can you
No,
tell me where this is at again?
Osage.
And this is the one, wasn't this before us? Was this the one before us before?
It was tabled
Yep.
at our,
He added a couple more parcels there.
are you familiar with SWI Cabinet Shop?
I'm not familiar with it.
Used to be,
What,
used to be the old lumber mill and stuff, right?
it's right in Osage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right on Highway
Right on
34.
the highway.
So
It's right in the city,
Yeah.
basically city
Yep,
limits.
yep.
The company is adjacent to OBT. Steve Paco is the property owner, owns SWI, and he's been buying all the parcels adjacent to him with the intentions of expanding his business.
I think it pretty much has everything there, doesn't he now?
He's
Maybe
got a lot
one-
of it, yeah.
One left maybe. but-
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
Next applicant, 2J2 Investment Group, requesting a final plat for 2 riparian lots and 7 non-riparian lots to be called to preserve at Stocky Lake. Recommendation to approve.
Motion to concur.
Motion by Barry,
Second.
second by Ben. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried.
And the last applicant, M&M Prime Properties LLC, is requesting a change of zone for let's see here, 3 parcels. 1 from industrial to commercial and 2 from ag to commercial. It's for a preliminary plat for 7 lots to be called Lake Center West, and that plat will be considered by Audubon Township at their next meeting. Recommendation to approve.
I move to approve.
Motion by Richard,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion?
I just have a question. Where is the commercial on, why is this going commercial? Or,
They were asked at the meeting and there was really no intent of those lots just to be sold for business purposes, I believe.
Right along Highway 10, just west of Coast
Yep,
property there.
yep. There's some commercial going up to there. It's basically in between Coast and the old Glen Stearns truck sales. There's a cartoon and auto there, and then it goes to Elaine Graff's, which has the cell tower or something, and then directly to this piece.
well, the Graffs have a housing development.
Yeah.
And Myrtle Hemron's place there, is this part of that? Because
Graffs have the housing development up on top of the hill, but the property bordering Highway 10, I believe, is commercial.
I don't think Graffs have any commercial property.
Give me 1 sec.
I don't know. I just don't.
Here it is.
Oh, residential.
It's, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
So this is, Graffs also own this right here. This is Elaine's original development, but this commercial stuff was hers. And then we're looking at this here.
Where's the Fish and Wildlife? Is that?
Right here.
A little southwest of there,
Where's the?
South Dakota.
Okay, so that they have on this side.
Fish and Wildlife should be what, west of
This-
coast and
this
then
is
south
west
of
of-
coast?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, this must. This must be Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, cause it's not. It's zoned something, but it's not indicating what it is.
Okay, we have a motion by Richard, second by John.
Mr. Chair, what the question for me is you're dividing that into 7 lots, into commercial and you don't know what commercial. I just worry that those 7 lots will be undersized or not appropriate for whatever commercial, because once you have a commercial, you can do whatever, whatever commercial falls under that.
But
So,
when you say undersized, they still have to meet the conditions of the zoning ordinance to put the impervious surface or whatever.
right, but we don't have anything for parking. I mean, we don't have very good parking rules on that, so. There. I just don't like just going straight commercial. So that's my
Okay.
point.
We have a motion by Richard, second by John. All in favor signify by saying aye. Both same sign.
Aye.
Motion carried. That's it.
Thank you.
I thought there was,
Is there something else?
was this one for the McCollums not come through?
That goes to Lakeview.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's contracted. Was there one other one like that?
The Lake Neighbors property, that's a storage condominium,
Yeah. that
51 units, that will go to
They have
Detroit.
the ordinance too.
Yep.
Kyle, I was just asking the question. I'll just reiterate or just re-ask it being, because I'm curious and I'm sure the board would be curious. That development south of, Detroit Lakes that they voted down at the city council. He voted down to annex it? Yeah, no,
No, it was,
no.
you're talking about on East Shore Drive,
Is it East Shore
where they
Drive?
wanted to put the,
Anyway, they got voted down to annex it and, it's in Lakeview Township, I think. It's that development just
Not Garrig.
yeah,
I didn't know it was voted down.
they voted down to annex it. So could they go to the township and the county now and put their development through us? Being they're not,
It would go through Lakeview, yeah, but the lots are gonna be considerably larger. They had an intent for a lot of lots there, 130.
yeah.
And with us, they're gonna be maybe 75. Let's just take it.
But if they wanted to start doing a commercial business, a gas station, they could probably put that in immediately, couldn't they? And then ask to be annexed after that? I mean,
oh,
don't-
that
this
one.
property
They,
at?
they just wanted more, they wanted to see the, plans for the rest of the,
I think they were opposing the gas station in that.
they,
in the-
absolutely.
I know
Well,
there's
that-
a lot of,
But
But then their annexation plan included property that they didn't have a
Inside the lake.
subdivision and the rest of a plan. for
Right.
it.
But they
when
could
was
go,
that hearing?
While ago.
Park.
By
I
the
never
way.
heard that.
Huh?
I never heard
Where's
that.
at?
Southside.
I've
It
heard
was-
plenty about the,
Yeah.
plenty about the project and the gas
Yeah,
station,
just-
but I never
we
heard
got
that
the
they didn't
township
annex.
road.
Last month, I think.
Just on the west side.
Oh, okay.
last week. But he could come before the county and just ask for a gas station and probably, I mean, I don't know,
Conditionally, yes.
conditional use for a gas station through the county in Lakeview and, I mean, it's, I don't know. I was just curious because we were
I'd
just-
rather he not, but
Yeah, if you read the minutes of the planning commission meeting, you wouldn't want that.
no.
But the gas station isn't a destination spot either. I mean, you're gonna serve the people that are there.
Right, and I think, depending on how long it takes for a build out there, if you had 130 lots, probably could support it, but
Oh, Mr. Chair, we got a couple of recognitions.
Oh, really? I'm glad I came.
Yeah.
Look up, Larry. Keep your chin up.
First one. Commissioner Knudsen, thank you for being our chairman for the last year. Like your first rodeo.
No, I mean, fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gentlemen. Very good. Very good.
Chin up, chin up,
Oh, very good. Yes.
chin up, Larry.
The best plan. No speech.
Next, I'd like to present you a plaque. Donna Larry Knudsen, Becker County District Commissioner one, recognition of your service, dedication to Becker County. The citizens of Becker County appreciate your 18 years of service.
Some of them.
So.
Some of the citizens or some of the years?
2022. Congratulations. And also, you get a picture of those handsome five.
There, that's.
You know, it'd be nice that Larry, if we had our first picture, first board, you know, of all the.
I think they have them.
We have it. We looked at all of them, yes. So
We changed a little Barry.
I know.
next one I'd like to present to Commissioner Ben Grimsley, Becker County Commissioner District 2, in recognition of your service and dedication to Becker County, to the citizens. The citizens of Becker County appreciate your 10 years of service from 2013 to 2022. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other picture of us.
Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure working with you all. We've done good things for the county.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the employees and all the collaboration we've had over the years. Thank you.
Whose phone is it? Oh. Well, I guess we have coffee and cookies to end this,
Commissioners, to purchase it and help yourself and got a little celebration for Larry and Ben leaving and.
Great.
We're adjourned.
We're done.
We're done, all right.
Help yourself.